Hey everyone, it's Carey and welcome to the Tuesday Tip. I'm here in Chicago in my living room with the fire going. It's a little chilly out in the 40s, and today's mug is Keep Austin Weird. Have you been to Austin? Was it weird for you? I thought it was actually really fun and cool. Didn't think it was so weird, but maybe because it's not weird anymore. Maybe it was weird once. I don't know. If you're from Austin, leave a comment. Tell me below. But I'm up for keeping it weird. I'll keep it weird. So today, we're going to settle in and we're going to talk about how to get your first or next client. I know this is such a big deal for so many. I remember my first client. Oh man, when I came out of health coach, actually I was still in health coaching school because they had you start to see clients when you're in school. And my first paying client was a friend of mine from grade school who we were not like, we were close, but then we weren't that close. And then anyway, she was like a friend, obviously someone I've known for years, but not like my best friend who was sitting next to me all the time. I actually think that's kind of difficult when you're first coaching. So she was a friend, but it was like a perfect fit for coaching. And I remember when she sent me a check to pay for the program, I started crying. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe somebody's paying me. I mean, it was never, ever, ever something I thought I could do. Be paid as a coach? Please. I was an actress for a lot of years, and I just didn't think that anyone would ever take me seriously. Like, how would this ever work? Of course, looking back, I go, oh my God, it was so scary, but so wonderful to get that first check. And I photocopied it and I put it in a frame and I put it up on my wall, and I just stared at it thinking like, oh, I could get choked up, thinking this is the future. Like, this is my future. That was exciting. And so for those of you who are looking to get your first or your next client and have your future open up to you and be up on your wall, I want to give you a really quick checklist. Today's checklist, because you know I love a checklist. Do you love a checklist? As much as I love a checklist? I don't know. Okay, let's look at the checklist. There's 6 steps. How to get your first or next client. These are just the things that you need to have in place to get a client. So let's go through this really quickly. You can download that checklist below the video. First thing on the checklist is, what is the program that you're offering? What are you offering? In our trainings, we give our clients a 28-day jumpstart or a 90-day transformational coaching program. What's the program that you're offering? Doesn't matter what it is, you just have to know. You just have to know what it is. The second step in the checklist is to have a results-based title for your program. So you don't want to call your program 4-month program, 6-month program, 3-month program, 4-week program. And the reason why is because it's just not particularly compelling for your client. A client always wants to know what's in it for them. So if you have a really compelling title that is showing your client that you're going to solve a problem that the client has, that can be extremely helpful. Even if it's something like weight loss resistance or weight loss transformation or double your energy or whatever it is, there has to be a title to your program that points to the problem that you're solving. Third item on the checklist, which is to determine your program pricing. Now, this is a tricky topic for a lot of people, so I'm actually devoting 2 whole video tips on pricing, and those are coming up very shortly. Fourth item on the checklist is to have a results-based title for your closing the deal conversation. Now, what is a closing the deal conversation? If you've never worked with Stacy and I in Holistic MBA, then you may not know that we call the initial conversation that you have with a potential client, we call it closing the deal. You may have been trained, especially if you're in health and wellness, you may have been trained to do some kind of intake or some kind of health history or some kind of consultation. We found, and Stacy found in her health coaching practice, which was amazing. She went from 0 to 72 clients in her first 10 months out of school and was making $96,000 as a health coach like that. So she ended up finding out that having a coaching conversation with a client, a very specific sequence of questions that you're asking a client before you work with them or before you or they decide to work together, was extremely valuable. And we call that coaching conversation closing the deal. Now, for a lot of people, that's a really uncomfortable conversation because it feels like, I don't want to be selling, I want to be coaching. But that conversation is not about selling. It is a coaching conversation that is about helping your client move forward, take action, make a decision. Whether or not that's working with you, irrelevant. You're passionate about helping the client move forward and make a decision. More often than not, when you do the conversation well, the client wants to work with you because you've demonstrated some really powerful coaching. So now that conversation, you need to have a title for it as well. And that's the same thing as with a title for your program. You don't want to call it a getting to know you session or a health history. For people who are busy, that's like, well, why do I show up for that? What's in it for me? And what's going to happen in that conversation? That can actually make the potential client really nervous because they're already scared to talk to you. I don't know if you have hired a coach lately, but I hired my own health coach a couple months ago. I was nervous about talking to her. I am a health coach, but it freaked me out. I was like, oh my God, I got to tell her what I eat. I'm worried about judgment and shaming and all of this. Can you imagine like someone who's never coached before coming to you? They're going to potentially hire you to be their coach. They're freaking out. So having a title on the closing the deal conversation not only tells the client what you're going to be talking about, which really helps to calm their nervous system down and their critter brain down. It also adds value to the conversation. And it just it's not like your client's going to walk through the door and just start going blah, 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 right? It shows from the start that you're the leader, you know the process, here's how this is going to go. This is the name of this conversation. Here's what's going to happen, and on we go. So there's a lot of benefit to putting a results-based title to your closing the deal conversation. Now, here's an added tip that ideally your title for the closing the deal conversation would match the title for your program. And why is that a benefit? Well, because if someone's raising their hand to come to your closing the deal conversation, you already know that they want to solve the problem that you're going to solve in your program. So it's a way to pre-qualify a prospect. Now we teach all of this in the core training, but I wanted to give this here for you today in a really easy checklist format. So let's go to the 5th item on the checklist, which is to determine how you'll take payment. Everybody's in a different phase of their business growth. And for us, we lay out 5 phases of business growth. You don't have to do any fancy payment taking. If you're just starting out, you could do PayPal, sure. But if you hate technology, we like to call this press the easy button. Just do what's easy. Take a check because starting your own business is hard enough. Trying to have confidence in yourself as a coach is hard enough. It's all hard enough. You don't need to add like any technological problem or, oh gosh, I have to open a merchant account or anything. You'll get to that. I promise. But if you're not sure what to do, you're just starting out, make it easy and take a check. Or if you have technical wherewithal or you have a friend or a kid or a neighborhood kid or somebody that can help you set up a PayPal account, great. If you're in later phases of your business, you'll start accepting more and more credit cards, you'll accept PayPal, you'll accept wire transfers, all kinds of things. But the main point is that before you talk to a prospective client, you have to know what is the form of pay. How does the person pay you? I had a mentor once who taught me, make it easy for people to give you money. You just want to be able to very clearly articulate how someone pays you. Okay, and then step 6 is, now that you've got all those first 5 steps, you have to have the 6th one, which is having clients come your way to have a closing the deal conversation. A lot of people will ask me, well, what do I focus on during the day? What is the thing that I should be doing when I'm starting out in my business? And the main thing that you should be doing is lead generation. That means meeting new prospective clients. That is the bulk of everything that you're doing when you're first starting as a coach, not focusing on your website, not worrying about social media, not getting distracted by all the bright, shiny things that are available to you. You really want to stick to lead generation activities. Now, there are a couple things when you're first starting out that are really helpful for that. Giving talks, networking events, connecting with referral partners, people who can send you a steady stream of referrals, your email newsletter, depending on how many people you have on your list and how your list is growing. And then we teach a strategy where you just simply send a personal email from you to one other person. I thought of you. Here's the problem I see with people who are trying to, I don't know, get rid of acne, and here's something I created that solves the problem, and would you like to talk? My closing the deal conversation is like best skin ever breakthrough session. Here's how you book one, right? And that's another, so all of those ways that you'll see, I think they're on the checklist. They're the personal email strategy that I just described, giving talks, networking events, referral partners, and your email newsletter are the 5 ways that you're really going to focus on when you're first starting out. Those are the things you should be doing every day. Booking talks, going to events, meeting people, and that everyone you meet and everyone you come in contact with is funneled to the closing the deal conversation to see if they're a prospective client for you. So that is the simple checklist to get your first or next client. Leave a comment below. Let me know. Talk with me. Let me know what your aha is and what you're going to implement. And I can't wait to continue the conversation with you. So leave a comment below, and then I'll be back next week with more tips. Bye, everyone.